So for me, the way I like to describe EMDR is essentially we're trying to help your brain do for itself while you're awake what it naturally would do in sleep. In the theory of EMDR, one of the things that we think is happening is when an individual hits REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep, their brain is sending information back and forth across the left and right side hemisphere of your brain and converting, in an oversimplification, short-term memory into long-term memory. The experiences of the day, the emotions, the tactile sensation, the meaning, all that getting separated. Again, to oversimplify, one of the common things that I notice with clients is where you have things that aren't processed completely or stored adaptively. And that word is maladaptively. When you have information or memories that is stored maladaptively in the brain, one of the common things that I notice is individuals who have drawn a causal relationship in their mind where it's actually just correlational. So I'll give you an example. I had a meeting today scheduled to start at 9 a.m. and I was a few minutes late. I was running a support group from 8 to 9. It's correlational that I was late to that meeting and I was running a support group because I have had other meetings before that started at 9 that I made it to on time following the support group. But today, both of those things happened. I had a support group and I was late to my 9 o'clock. Causal would be if every time I have a support group at 8, I'm late at 9 because of that support group. And one of the things that I see often, especially with survivors of trauma, is this misapplication, which is automatic in the mind and is a common symptom of trauma, of turning things that are just correlational. I suffered my trauma, I suffered abuse as a child, I didn't tell anybody. Those are two correlational things. And over time, those seem to have become in the mind, as an example, because I never told anybody, that's why this happened, so that it's my fault. And EMDR seems to help us access, activate, and stimulate the processing mechanism in your brain to hopefully reprocess those things and take what is maladaptively stored so that it can be stored adaptively. And so for that example, one way that that might look if it were to be reprocessed and stored adaptively, going from I was hurt, I didn't tell anyone, I was abused, I didn't tell anyone, therefore I was hurt because I didn't tell anyone and it was my fault, might look something like I realize that I did the best I could back then, and not telling someone about what happened isn't the reason that I was hurt, and this isn't my fault. It doesn't necessarily provide answers, but one of my favorite things to note is that often when EMDR works, it seems to free us from some of those questions that we have carried and struggled with for so long. Why did this happen to me? Well, it happened because someone chose to do this to me, for example. Why did the storm hit? Well, the storm hit because of nature, not because of anything I did.